Good morning, everyone. So it is 9:01. We're going to get started. I'm going to put the check-in question in one more time and give you 3 minutes to complete it. I'm starting my timer. The check-in question is, what text did you find most interesting from the gallery walk yesterday, and why did you find it interesting? I see Nate and Anna have already responded. Thank you for being on top of it. For those of you who are just entering, we've got 1.5 minutes to respond to the check-in question. I'm putting it in the chat again. The check-in question is, what text did you find most interesting from the gallery walk yesterday, and why did you find it interesting? Please respond in full sentences. Justin, so then open the slide deck. You've got 1 minute. This is our check-in question. Take 30 more seconds. All right, finish up your sentence if you have not sent in your response. That's my timer. So Diana T, can you unmute and talk a little bit about why you like text 3? I'm going to present text 3 on my screen.
Do I go?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So I like text 3 because I liked how they portrayed the difference between how there's a higher class of people and a lower class of people.
So what led you to think that they were talking about higher class and lower class?
Because of the way they showed how some people act lazy and like very like not a good way, and people look down on them, and the other people were more mature and didn't do as much as they did.
Wonderful, thank you. So right now on presenting from my screen is text 3. I want to read it quickly because I do think that this really sets us up well to read the mystery excerpt today. So the origins of London's slums date back to the mid-18th century, when the population of London, or the Great Wen, as William Cobert called it, began to grow at an unprecedented rate. In the last decade of the 19th century, which means 1800s, London's population expanded to 4 million, which spurred a high demand for cheap housing. London's slums rose initially as a result of rapid population growth and industrialization. They became notorious for overcrowding, unsanitary, and squalid living conditions. Most well-off Victorians were ignorant or pretended to be ignorant of the subhuman slum life, and many who heard about it believed that the slums were outcomes of laziness, sin, and vice of the lower class. However, a number of the socially conscious writers, social investigators, and moral reformers, preachers, and journalists who sought solutions to this urban malady in the second half of the 19th century argued convincingly that the growth of slums was caused by poverty, unemployment, social exclusion, and homelessness. So if you look, this is depicting or showing with a picture how these people looked and dressed. And if you notice, something that interesting that I'm noticing is this woman right here who's talking to the child has this blanket or shawl wrapped around her shoulders. And if you look at the example text that I showed, the cover of our book, she also has a shawl wrapped around her shoulders, right? So I'm noticing a connection, and maybe we can make an inference based off of that. Thank you, Diana, for sharing that text 3 was the one that you found most interesting. I want to quickly go over, so I want to give a quick update. Today we're reading Joseph, that's not an appropriate way to interact in the chat. Today we're interacting with a small excerpt from the text so that we can do some prediction work. So first and foremost, I want to go through a mini lesson regarding predictions and how to make strong predictions. And then what we'll do is we will get started. So how to make strong predictions. Let's go through the success criteria first. First, you must be based, a prediction must be based in observations from the text, which means that you can't just make a prediction without actually critically looking at the text. A text can be an image, a text can be the play itself, a text can be a clip from the movie, which we're going to show in for class tomorrow. So predictions must be based in observation. You have to have seen something that makes you think something else. They must also include an inference. What this means is that when you notice something, such as when I noticed the shawl showed up in 2 of the texts, then I can start to think, oh, why would the shawl show up, right? No texts tell me why the shawl was in 2 of the different texts, but I can make an inference based on those observations. Strong prediction must also match the tone and style of the text. All this means is that if you're reading a text that is historical fiction, such as Pygmalion, right? So it's based in a time period of history and it's a fictional story, I can't talk about aliens in my prediction. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't match the tone and the style of the text. So we have to make sure to fit in with what we know about the text. And then finally, you must be able to provide evidence and reasoning to support your claim. For example, when I'm talking about in text 3, there's a woman with a shawl, and on the cover of Pygmalion, there's a woman wearing a shawl, I may make an inference that wearing a shawl like that might be a way for lower class people or poorer people to have a jacket instead of having a full jacket, because jackets are expensive. In order to provide my evidence, I might cite a line from text 3 and cite a noticing from my example text. That way I can support my claim. I'm going to pause there. In your own words, and I will type this in your own words, what is the purpose of prediction? What is the purpose of prediction? We have 38 people in this chat. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock. Every single people of these 38 people need to be answering the question, what is the purpose of prediction? Please begin. So I have 7 responses to this question right now. We've got 2 minutes. All right, take another minute. Remember, if you are choosing not to respond to questions, you won't be counted for attendance. So it's really important that you're answering the questions as I am asking them. That's how I know that you are actively participating in my class. Okay, I'm going to pause here. Isabella, your response really hit home. I think that it captured what the purpose of prediction is. Can you unmute and explain your answer a little bit?
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you.
I said that a prediction is something like you're guessing something before it happens because you're kind of like I don't know for prediction because you're
Isabella, why do you make predictions?
we need predictions because like let's say something is about to happen and you don't know yet and it's kind of like important for you to guess before it starts.
Wonderful. So thank you, Isabella. So it's really important to be making predictions as we move through when that's a really strong way to be critically thinking while we're reading a text. So when we are reading a text, if we're predicting every step of the way, then that shows me and that helps you stay focused on the text at hand and really start to think critically about different moments that play into moments in the future with the text. Mr. McCabe, do you have something that you want to show? Because you're being extremely distracting right now.
I'm not distracted. No, you're the only one staring, and I was repping the Celtics hard, but then I saw your Red Sox nonsense, so then I had to put my Mets jersey on.
Yes, I thought that you would sincerely enjoy my rivalry jersey.
The Mets. That's right,
Just
Carter.
like
That's
that,
what I'm
Mr.
talking
McCabe.
about.
Yes,
All
Wait,
right.
you
Mr.
don't see
McCabe.
Carter. Oh, there you go.
All right. All right. Sorry.
Yes, Jayla, I agree.
All right.
Good morning. So Isabella's totally right. It's important to make predictions because it helps us stay focused on what the important parts of the text are and how they play into future portions that we haven't read yet. So I'm going to go through and I want everyone to click into the assignment for today, the 416 check for understanding. And I want you to click on the mystery excerpt. Please write in the chat, ready, when you have clicked into that and you can see the mystery excerpt. I'm going to also project my screen in a moment and I'll have it on my screen, but I want all of you to have it on your screen as well. So I see Elizabeth is ready, Abdul's ready, Nate is ready, Diana, Lismary, awesome. Hezian, Isis, Joseph. Yep, Denise, I want you to be on the mystery excerpt text. All right. So I'm going to project my screen. And on my screen, I will also have the text. So we're going to select, and I'm going to name, we're going to need 3 different student volunteers. So if someone wants to be Liza, or I think it's pronounced Liza, I'm pretty sure. Higgins, and Doolittle. I need 3 volunteers to read this text out loud. We're going to do Reader's Theater digital version. So I see Abdul is volunteering. Wonderful. Denise and Joshua. Perfect. We've got our 3. So Denise, you're going to be Liza. I'm going to have Joshua Day be Higgins, and Abdul is going to be Doolittle. So please make sure all 3 of you need to be unmuted so that we can get going.
Start.
Denise, you're ready?
Yeah.
Abdul, are you ready?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Joshua Day, are you ready?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Denise, you can start us off.
All right. How to make? Oh no, I'm just gonna be. I should look all right with my hat on. She takes up her hat, puts it on, and walks across the room to the fireplace with a fashionable air.
A New Fashion by George, and it ought to look horrible.
Doolittle, with father pride. Well, I never thought she'd clean up as good looking as that governor. She's credited to me, ain't she?
I tell you, it's easy to clean up here. Hot and cold water on tap, just as much as you like. There is woolly towels. There is in the towel horse so hot it burns your fingers. Soft brushes to scrub yourself, and a wooden bowl of soup smelling the primroses. Now I know why ladies is so clean. Washing's a treat for them. Wish they saw what it is for the like of me.
I'm glad the bathroom met with our approval.
Wonderful. Thank you 3 for volunteering. I really appreciate that. You can remute yourself.
Okay.
So I want to take a moment and I just want to give an opportunity for some students to make some inferences. So I'm going to write in some guiding questions to help guide some inferences and some predictions. And then we're going to have the opportunity just to make sure that we feel comfortable with predictions. If you're like, I understand what this text is about, I feel really comfortable making predictions, then you're good to go. I want to create a space where students who aren't as comfortable with predictions can get some feedback right here, right now, before they start the assignment. So some guiding questions that I'm going to start with is, how are these characters related? Another guiding question could be, why is Lisa? I want to make sure that I'm spelling that right. Yep, Lisa. Talking about the bath. So I've got 2 guiding questions. I'm going to open it up really generally here. The task is to make a prediction about what this play, Pygmalion, is about based on the mystery excerpt. So reminder, when we're thinking about predictions, it's important to include evidence. It doesn't have to be quoted evidence. It just needs to be some way that you are saying, this is actually grounded in something I observed, right? So for example, Isis says, she must be getting ready for a party. Isis, I want to push you to think about what made you think a party specifically? So Kazi says the rich people of the time, because Liza is talking about the bath and how easy it is to use. Interesting, right? So she's talking about the way that the bath is so fancy. And so therefore Kazi made the inference that these are rich people. Joshua Day is talking about how she's going to perform in a fashion show. I would push you to include what makes you think she's going to a fashion show. So Jaylene says, I think Liza is talking about taking a bath because she knows how it's different for other ladies. I say this because she says how the bath is so easy and how good it smells. Really strong prediction from Jaylene because it's really rooted in things that she noticed and she's still making an inference. So Asaya says, Doolittle is their father because he said with fatherly pride, right? That's using very strong observational evidence. Nice job, Asaya. Kwame, I would push you to be more specific. What is the tone of Mr. Doolittle that shows that they are related? So I just wanted to open this up for a few minutes. We've got about 7 minutes left. If you want to practice predictions and make sure that yours is okay and you want to check it with me, please stay in here. If you have questions, I know that some of you were struggling with the assignment yesterday. I'm going to take these 7 minutes to answer some of those questions. Otherwise, you should leave this meeting and please make sure you get to social studies on time. I want to make sure that I'm valuing your time.
I got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
The thing for today